Welcome, everybody, back for another extended week of VCS action. As always, I am Everyday. With me is Yulwei. How are we feeling for this week, mate?
Hello. We finally will move to the playoffs after this one, and there's still so many questions unanswered, and we will get all those answers this week, and I'm excited for that. We start with the first series. Oh, this will already give us some answers, especially if one of the two teams wins. We will have one less team in playoff contention, so we're starting hot this
I
week.
think one of the two teams is pretty likely to win. Don't think we get too many ties overall.
Sadly, no best of two.
You're of course referring to EVOS there. Because if DBL loses this, that's it. They're out of contention for playoffs.
Yep.
Just completely, they're done. So this is do or die. And the problem as well for them is that it's not just you have to win the series. You pretty much have to 2-0.
Yeah.
Even a 2-1's not really good enough.
A 2-1 is, yeah. I mean, they stay alive with a 2-1, but it would be way better for them to go 2-0 because right now they're -2 games, and all the other teams in playoff contention above them are +1 or +2, so they can't even tie today. They can only go to 0, so it's a 0 game difference, which means that's the first step in the correct direction. If they go 1-1, they are still on -1, so they basically have to 2-0 GAM on the last day.
Yeah. Have fun, guys.
That's very far away. Yeah. So a 2-0 would be way better. The problem for DBL also is it's not even just do or die. It's do to stay in. And even then you might potentially still die. So even if you do, you might still die. So it's even worse than do or die.
That said, from the DBL perspective, you've just got to take it one hurdle at a time. This is your first hurdle. Like, you've just got to get over this one. You can think about the next one when you're getting to it. I feel like, yeah, you're right. They're not in a good position to make their run for playoffs at all. This is pretty much the most outside of outside chance for them.
Yeah.
But you've just got to take it one series at a time. There's no other way to do it. So let's focus on the team that would lock playoffs with a win, EVOS. They're the team that has constantly flown under our radar. We've always said that they're in contention, but we've always focused on Cerberus or Team Secret or DBL. We don't talk about EVOS so much. So can you break down what you want to see in this series?
Yeah, so firstly, for all the people that go like, no, they don't lock playoffs. Yeah, okay. They don't, technically, they don't lock playoffs if they're in. It's almost 100% though. Like, all the other teams would go, like Cerberus and, of course, Team Secret would need to go 2-0 to tie them and score. Then also some weird stuff has to happen in terms of tiebreakers. So technically not 100%, but let's say 95% lock players. EVOS indeed is a team we always talked about certain players in EVOS, right? We talked about TH, formerly known as Hero. We talked about Swan a lot because he impressed us a lot. We didn't really talk about the team that much because all the time Cerberus seemed like a more interesting team. Team Secret had a lot of ups and downs. DBL had a resurgence. So other teams took the spotlight, but EVOS now suddenly crept up to 3rd place and is still in contention even for 2nd place. That's an outside chance, but it's possible. So very interesting. We should focus a little bit more on EVOS now. I think they are a team that's defined by bot lane and jungle, but especially in the last few weeks, the solo laners have been stepping up, and suddenly the team looks much more solid.
Yeah, I agree. I think they are looking really good as a cohesive team. I think part of the reason we don't necessarily focus in on EVOS as much is they did this last split as well, where they just missed playoffs, right?
Yeah.
It's not like we like talking about Cerberus a lot because it's such a massive improvement. DBL we talk about because it's DBL. And Team Secret we've been talking about because of the massive drop-off. This is just EVOS. They're just keeping on trucking. But this split, they've just kicked it up half a gear higher, and it might... I'm backing them to get to the playoffs. I think it's the smart man's bet to say they clinch at least 4th.
I think they're favored to clinch third, honestly, but
Yeah,
third and
at
fourth
least fourth.
doesn't really do too much in our league, as we
fair.
play gauntlet style. So third against fourth is just the first round of the gauntlet. You only get side selection, which of course is nice, but it's not that big of a deal compared to second place, where you get to skip the first series, of course. So yeah, third or fourth doesn't really matter too much. It would still be a nice achievement for EVOS to get third after missing playoffs in Summer Split. Of course, this matchup actually was our final. The final in spring 2019 was DBL against EVOS. At that time, of course, still the very dominant DBL with Zeros in the lineup. And the final actually was very exciting because EVOS came in as a big underdog and won the first game through team play, good team fighting. Sadly, they couldn't keep up with the early game afterwards, but it's still a little bit of a throwback to last year. Both teams have kind of fallen from grace, but EVOS is slowly making their way up back to the top of the league.
Which is super exciting. I think I say this about every single week, maybe even every single day that we cast, is I want more teams that are challenging at the top. So if EVOS is on the upward trajectory again, fine by me. The more teams we have in a scrimmage to try and catch up to GARM, so it's not just Flash that we talk about as potential challenges. If there can be 3 or 4 teams that are just potential challenges, then hey, in a split, maybe we aren't just GARM dominating everyone. That'd be great. So keep it up, EVOS. I'm loving it. But let's zoom in on today's game. We've got to talk about the junglers, because Meliodas lost his goddamn mind last week.
Yeah, indeed he did. Yeah, he had one of the craziest games, or even series we have ever seen. He went full. He went so deep every single time. He went for dive after dive after dive. Most of them didn't succeed, and he ended up feeding a whole lot. But like the idea, I think was good.
Yeah.
I like that DBL tried to change their style. In the end, it didn't really succeed, so you can't really give them too much credit for that change. It was much more exciting to watch. DBL was always known as our more slow team, more LCK style. Definitely not last week. And Meliodas, I'm not sure what got to him. Maybe there was something in his food at that day or something.
Someone definitely sprinkled something in his Cheerios, because he was absolutely flying. Now this is maybe something you haven't looked into too much, because we never really know what patch we're going to be playing on, but I think we're on 10.6.
It's like 10.6, yeah. Wukong,
100% pick ban?
If he's enabled. He wasn't enabled in A&D.
They were showing, I'm going to meta a little bit, on the VX stream, they were showing his kit and stuff. So I think that'll mean he's enabled.
There was some Wukong yesterday or 2 days ago. I think yesterday. I still haven't played
with or against it. I don't know what.
I've played some games of Wukong, so I know a little bit about him. I can imagine GAM definitely bring him out. If the teams are not comfortable, GAM will definitely be comfortable bringing him out, especially as they play against FTV. They've locked first place already, so we might expect some very, very fun games tonight,
maybe
later on. So he is a super strong champ. I think we should probably play on the hotfix version, which still had 55% win rate.
If it's not the hotfix version, then it's going to be Pantheon at Worlds. Yeah, He's not seeing play if it's not the hotfix version.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the it's most of the time it's the hotfix whenever we go to a patch that is already out live. So of course live 10.7 just hit, so 10.6 with hotfix should be where we're playing. And of course, Wukong still had, as I said, 55 to 56% win rate, so he should still be one of the priority champs. He can teamfight decently well. He's definitely not the assassin Wukong anymore that can't teamfight at all. He has some nice tools.
Yeah,
his laning phase in pro play shouldn't yield too many big advantages. I think he's a strong laner, but especially against the other meta laners, Renekton and Set, he should just go even. So might not be the most exciting laning pick, but in terms of team fighting, he brings a lot to the table, and I'm excited to see some spinning.
Yeah, absolutely. We need some of those more spin to wins, because Garen never sees play as an actual damaging champion. So I just want to very quickly segue, because obviously 10.7 is now live. Have you played New Fiddle, and what do you think of it?
Sadly, I didn't get to play yesterday because my friends occupied the jungle position all the time. No, I haven't played against Fiddle. Oh, I played against Fiddle one game, but he didn't actually ever get in touch with me. So
Yeah, because he's really bad.
Oh, he's bad.
I think it's the weakest. I think his kit and his design is great, but his numbers at the moment are garbage.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
He doesn't deal damage without ult.
Yeah, his ult deals a lot of damage, but everything else doesn't.
I played a game before we went live when I was on Fiddle, and the enemy jungler was a Malphite, and we ran into each other at Scuttlecrab at level 4, and I feared him, hit my E, and channeled a full drain, and he out-traded me by just slapping me with autos. It's like,
well,
he didn't even use his Q. Like, I feel like I should be winning that trade, but I don't do any damage. Crowstorm is still broken, though. It's even more broken now.
Crowstorm is nice.
Because you can get...
Well, I like the idea.
You go over a wall and get a 5-man fear. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I hope we get to see him in Summer Split. Sadly, most of the leagues will end before 10-7 hits, and even then, most leagues like to disable the newest champs. So I don't think we'll see Phil in quite some time, especially if he's indeed this week.
He has a 40% win rate at the moment.
So. I mean, yeah, new champs always start with a very low win rate, so yeah. We don't really know how good he is.
Yeah, okay. That was meant to be a quick segue, but I'm so excited about Fiddle. Let's go back to... let's throw our mind back to 10.6. So other than the Wukong, were there any significant changes that you could see particularly affecting this series?
Aphelios nerfs, big Aphelios nerfs, haven't actually... have led to some interesting changes in build path, but not actually changes in priority. So Aphelios was nerfed in terms of his Crescendum and one other weapon as AI, Severum, of course. So the lifesteal weapon in the early game is much less effective. It goes down to 3% lifesteal at level 1, I think. So it doesn't really do a whole lot. It's like Doran's Blade lifesteal. So those weapons need a lot more time to scale up, and Crescendum is worse in every state of the game. So it's just a straight up flat nerf on that weapon, which he deserved because that weapon was broken. So a lot of people now go with the old, let's call it Tristana build, we IE into double attack speed items, which means it's way more attack, like auto attack reliant. We've seen this shift in the VCS already last week, which was a little confusing because he was still on 10.5, right? So players adapted to the new build path they played in solo queue a little bit too early in pro play, but we should see this build path all the time now that he's on 10.6 because he's much more auto attack focused. His abilities all got nerfed from again and again, so he's not as ability reliant anymore. Yeah, he plays a little different. Is a little bit more of a Caitlyn style of champ with more damage, but it's interesting. He should still be high priority.
Oh, he does more damage than another ADC for no reason? Oh, well.
Yeah, he still does that.
Aphelios.
I'm most excited to look at jungle changes, of course, because this patch has brought in some fancy junglers.
It's also very relevant for this series. This is a jungle-focused series, I think, particularly for Thorn. And we are going to head into Champion Select, but you can definitely continue talking about these jungle champs.
So I don't think we'll see any of the fancy junglers like Zyra or Brand in this series, but maybe Levi will show us some. Because if you still didn't believe me, viewers, go into custom game without a pull, play Zyra jungle. Don't use a single pot. You'll get through all of the jungle. It's so easy to jungle with her.
Yeah.
And I mean, Zyra is still a nice champ to have in your composition. Nice counter engage, good damage, decent ganks even. Flash Ace is like Flash Cocoon. You can even go through minions. So yeah, I'd like to see a little bit of Zyra jungle. Maybe Levi will fulfill that dream. But now focus on this. Pick a ban. 2 junglers banned for Dashing Buffalo. They know that Zorn is the centerpiece of
that they absolutely do, and it makes total sense. The Tom Kench ban for EVOS strikes me as a little bit weird. As I've realised, I think my stream might have fallen a little bit behind live, so you might be ahead. I'm not 100% sure what happened. We'll sort it out. I'm on Buffalo's 3rd ban. Are we synced?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're good then.
I just saw that ban coming.
No worries. Yep, there's Silas removed. Apologies for that, everyone. We do have we struggle with tech issues sometimes. Thankfully, it's just sync normally. We've been nailing the rest. Go us.
So,
But yeah.
Buffalo on blue side, and Pan is in over Hasmid, which is a little surprising. Will he show us some of his split pushing style champs like Jax? Jax is actually now a decent counter pick into some of the meta melee top laners, like especially Aurelia. So I want to see Pan on Jax again. He was the original Jax player. When he came in, he played Jax twice. Inted a lot of it on him, but still should be a very good Jace. But there we go. Kalista first pick. She's even better on this patch because Aphelios got nerfed. And that's the very good lock-in for Dashing Buffalo.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen the rise of the Kalista, and probably the biggest highlight play on that Kalista so far was in the hands of Big Koro. So I'm really glad to see him pick it up again. But I think EVOS had to know that that was going to be the first pick. It was very obvious. What are they going to respond with? It looks like they are just considering snapping up the Aphelios anyway. They think Aphelios is better than Kalista then, I guess.
MF, especially. Aphelios over MF is an interesting priority we have to track, because MF didn't really get nerfed. She's still super strong. But for me, it makes sense for DivKid. He's a very, very good backline ADC, a very good team fighting ADC. Giving him Aphelios and giving him the tools to carry the late game. It's a very good choice for EVOS. I like this draft so far. But one on set, he can't really do a lot or a lot of wrong things on set. So I like that approach as well.
He's not playing Renekton.
Yeah,
it was open and he's not playing Renekton. And it is the Kalista Taric secured for DBL. So we can now see half of that DBL comp. What would you like to see them rounded out with? What do you think they want to be doing?
Very strong team fighting so far. I'd like to see team fighting, also a team fighting mid laner. Orianna would be great in their composition. They have a lot of great ball carriers, especially on Taric when he goes in with Kalista ult. So I'd like to see something like an Orianna in the mid lane. You could also go Victor, actually.
Yeah,
sounds like a nice idea. You could also go a little bit early game. Zoe is banned though, so no, Nol's favorite champ is not here.
Rumble's
They
up.
want to go full on early game. Yeah, they could go Rumble, they could go LeBlanc. So still some options. I'd like to see a little bit more control base, but Nol likes to go Rumble, so Rumble is not a bad option either. And then top lane, well, it's into set. Jax into set doesn't sound like a great idea. Aurelia into set, I haven't seen too much. Maybe that's an interesting option. Other than that, you can just go on, and EVOS realized that and banned it away. So, yeah, interested to see what the top lane will be for Dashing Buffalo. I don't really see an obvious one. I could go a lot of directions there.
Yes, so we'll switch over to the side of EVOS. We will obviously start seeing picks come in, but if you can be quick, what would you like to see EVOS picking up?
Farming jungler, Kindred against Trundle. Yeah, I'd like to see Kindred here. Oh, and we don't see anything, sadly. That is unfortunate.
You see the lobby there. Unfortunate. Apparently a little bit of a mistake.
So the blind Trundle is actually something we haven't touched on. Very interesting approach from the DBL. They wanted to pick away the Trundle after they couldn't spend bans on it. Of course, Trundle, very successful champ for EVOS and so on. So blinding Trundle is always a little bit questionable because, of course, Trundle works best if you have a tank on the other side. And yeah, there was a Braum. There's a set now. Semi tanks, I guess, but it's not Trundle's dream. So
yeah, those two are much more tanky through abilities.
Yeah,
like you can't steal a Haymaker shield, and you can't steal the Unbreakables. So not the best ones for Trundle.
Trundle is hoping for the enemy team to pick up a tank jungler, but of course the enemy team can also just adapt their draft. And I'd really like to see something that can punish Trundle and jump around and maybe even out DPS him, which is why I think Kindred could be a good option. Also, Kindred got buffed this patch, is very strong.
Don't want to see
one
Graves.
of the strongest AD
we had
junglers
Graves
right now.
last week.
No, I don't want to see Graves. No, even though it's one of Sorn's favorite champs. So. Sorn also is one of the most famous Nidalee players, so that's another option. I'd like to see a very fancy jungler here for Sorn. Don't go with Sejuani. You could still always go back to J4, but I think he's banned. So that's, I guess, Rek'Sai is another one that could come in here. would be a little less exciting, but still a valid choice.
I mean, I think Rek'Sai doesn't... I think I agree with you that I kind of want to see a bit of a farming / carry role coming in here for Sorn, and Rek'Sai definitely doesn't do that.
Do you know what you could also go? It's not really VCS style, especially not Sorn style.
Are you about to say Karthus? Yeah. I mean,
this is a good Karthus draft.
We have been deprived of Karthus this split.
Yeah,
we have been absolutely deprived. Even Levi, the king of the farming junglers, has not picked him. So I'd love to see a Karthus. It's very possible.
Karthus or a modern Karthus that's called Zyra. But now I'll stop talking about Zyra. But...
I mean, what about Morgana jungle? That's back.
So yeah, it's back as well. Very good with a hyper carry like Divgit on Aphelios. So yeah, possible. I think he can go a lot of options here. Teemo jungle is of course my specialty. And very good to run by Trundle because he can deny his chomp and his auto attack focused approach. So yeah, not a bad idea either. Needs a little bit of time compared to the Zyra and the Brands and the jungle. He needs a little bit more time to get online. So
shout out to chat. Why don't just pick River Shen? The fearsome River Shen. Let's go.
He's a tank.
Who cares? It's the fearsome River Shen. He can do anything. Just to explain to everyone, there was an issue with I think one of the clients must have crashed in Champion Selects. We are just chugging along, waiting to see how everything will be rounded out. We don't quite know how the drafts will end. So moving away from Sorn for a moment, because we've talked about him quite a lot. What do you think? Will DBL... So let me just start that again. Will DBL go back to their slow scaling style, or do you think the aggression is here to stay? Based on the half of their team that you've seen.
Well, bot lane is a very aggressive lane, right? But jungle is more of a farming jungler and counter gank focused.
Can I pull you up? Is Kalista Taric super aggressive? Because we talk about Kalista needing to be aggressive, but we often have the caveat that when you have Taric, she actually becomes a pretty damn good scaling pick.
Yeah, she definitely can scale, but she is still an aggressive champ. So I'm not saying she has to be aggressive. Yeah, you don't have to, but it's kind of the natural for Kalista to go aggressive, especially because Hail of Blades. If she goes Hail of Blades, it gives you that big of a trading advantage. So yeah, I mean, she doesn't have to. She can just scale, but why would you not use your superior laning to get at least a little bit of an advantage?
Because on the other side, there's still an
affiliate. I guess that's fair.
I want to see the aggression from DBL keep up. Obviously, some of it looked a bit rough.
Tune it down a little bit, though.
A little bit.
Don't go reckless aggression into towers all the time.
Meliodas went from his normal, 120 IQ, and then they cut him in half. They took him two down too far. They took him all the way down to 20 IQ last week. Yeah. Put him back up to 60. So he still does some really aggressive things, but not quite as much. Just about 60.
I'm very interested to see what Meliodas does today. The draft approach is something I still haven't made my mind up about.
I'm not convinced by the Aphelios pick. I'm not convinced by the Aphelios.
Oh, interesting.
That early. What? Because there's two really good ADCs up, right? Why do you use your first round of picks to just lock away Aphelios?
He seems to still be valued highly, though.
It's true.
In EU, he was still first pick all the time, even on 10-6. So
I can understand first picking him if you prioritize him, but the enemy team has already picked Kalista. It's Big Koro. You know 99.9% of the time that's going to Big Koro. Did you need to pick Aphelios with your first round of picks? Couldn't you have picked it third if you didn't want to get banned?
I think they also used the Aphelios pick to just not give a lot away. I think they're very counter draft or counter pick focused this time around. Jungle is not picked up, mid lane is not picked up. They can now decide between picking up jungle this rotation and picking up mid lane this rotation. I think honestly, for a team with Zorn in it, especially if he has prepared some interesting picks, they should probably last pick jungle and see the whole composition, see if Kindred makes sense, see if maybe Mage makes sense in the jungle. Now pick a generic mid laner for Parquet. He's not going to dominate mid lane anyway if you pick him counter pick. So just give him not Orianna. Let's not see Parquet Orianna.
No. I don't want any sombreros in this game.
Let's see Cassio. Let's see Rice. Yeah, something like that. Not Orianna.
Yeah, not Parquet Orianna. We actually have gone. We actually have gone to a pause here on stream.
Starting soon, though.
The infamous VCS starting soon. So I'll give the choice to you, Yulwei. Do you want to keep having a chat, or do we want to throw to a bit of a break?
Yeah, I mean, we have only barely started. So
it's true.
Continue to start.
Sure. We'll just keep chatting. I just want to pause while we have a break in our flow. You might notice we're on a bit of a different background, and I just want to shout out the main man, the absolute MVP of the VCS English community. It's not me. It's not Yulwei. It's Pengaro, as he's decided to go, that blue was getting a bit boring. Let's shake it up. It's the last week. It's the week of the Clashes 2 Electric Boogaloo. So we've got a cool new background. So thanks, Peng. Everyone in chat, please clap your hands for Peng.
MVP.
Yeah, Peng is the MVP. We all love Peng.
You honestly need an exclamation mark Peng to have the same play as in the Discord.
Yeah. Speaking of our Discord, if you scroll down below the stream, there is a Discord link there. You could join the VCS English community. Heaps of people that are really passionate about the VCS and League of Legends in general. We'd love to have you there. We have good times. We were the Church of Harney all yesterday, which was great. We'd love to have you there. But with that little segue aside, let's talk again about the actual games we have today. We'll forget that draft for just a moment. What do you think this is going to 3? Let's just start with that. Is this going to 3? Did you predict that in our Big Brain Award?
I was so undecided between 2-1 and 2-0 EVOS. And of course, I still want to get that first place. I actually went with the more spicy prediction, in my opinion, which is 2-0 EVOS. It's for me, EVOS is the clear favorite, especially after last week's game. Of course, we had 1 week of pause, so no one really knows what happened in the break. Maybe the team had some problems adapting to the new situations. Maybe scrims weren't going well, so anything can happen, really, especially on the first day of the new week. But EVOS is on a 3-series win streak. They went 2-0 last week for the first time in a long time because they struggle to go for 2-0 all the time. So I believe in EVOS. I think they are the better team, and I think they have finally found a way to incorporate their weaker soul lanes in their very solid setup.
Speaking of, and this is something I forgot to mention, so a bit of a segue. Speaking of teams having trouble adapting during the little break, if you do go below the stream, you might see that there's a YouTube link. On that YouTube link is all the VODs for the VCS, if you ever wanted to go back and watch a game that you missed, or just a game that you want to rewatch. Why not? They're all great. But you'll also notice that there's a few episodes of the Everyway podcast, which, as you might be able to guess from the name, is the podcast that me and Yulwei produce. And we actually got the opportunity to have about a half-hour chat with the CEO of Team Secret, Mr. John Yao. Really appreciative that they reached out and set that up. And we had a really good chat about how that org is getting into the league. We talked about the players like a little bit. Just how everything's going. So I definitely recommend go give that a watch. I'm a horrible interviewer, but he is an impeccable professional, so there's still some really great information if you are curious. Oops.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting talk we had with him about the how they came into the league, how everything is working right now in the Corona times. They move that also kind of prevented them from picking up maybe a win or two, where they had to move in between weeks, and that threw them off for a few weeks. They are now 0-2 down, 0-4 in the last 4 series. So they have to step up this week. It would be a really big disappointment for Team Secret to not make playoffs, especially after 6-2. They were 6-2, and it looked like they only had to win like against FTB and maybe one more series to lock players. And then they lost against FTB, and they continued to lose every single series afterwards. So 2 more chances to get to They really need to get back on track.
So I think with this pause still continuing, we should probably throw to a bit of a break before we run out of all of our material that we want to talk about tonight. So we are really sorry, guys. There is apparently tech issues. You know how it is. Sometimes it happens. There's no timer at the moment. Unfortunately, it is the infamous VCS starting soon. As soon as there is a timer, I promise I'll put it on screen. We'll be in chat, in the Twitch chat and stuff. We'll try and get you posted. We're really sorry. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do on our end. We're both very, very far away from Vietnam. So please bear with us. We'll be back as soon as possible.
Yep. Stay tuned. We should be back in game.
Yeah,
as
should be
soon
soon.
as possible.
Should be. It won't be too long.
Well, I guess never mind us, right?
Yeah, why do we even bother going anywhere, as we are back? The shortest break of all time.
Well, that was very unfortunate. And look at that. The draft has developed a little bit. It's gotten very interesting. There's Nidalee. We touched on her a little bit. This is a very nice option. I like this Nidalee a lot. Can also try to dominate the trundle on the jungle. And it's so Nidalee. This was my favorite jungle or champion player combination for Spring 2019 when I started casting the VCS. And yeah, Swan was my favorite player to watch, and this Nidalee blew me away. So let's see if he can do it again. Also, the Zillion. Oh man, we have so many bosses.
This is a crazy team comp. Break this one down for us, Yulwei. How is this one gonna work?
Whoa! What happened there?
Hello?
Yeah, your mic just did something weird.
Yeah, I think I know what's doing it. I'll fix it. Just go ahead.
Zillion
Everyone can hear you.
Zillion Aphelios played yesterday against T1, and the Zillion was actually able to keep Aphelios alive in the late game to carry 1v4, also speed him up to be able to chase. So I'm very excited to see Parky facilitating Divkit. I think this is one of the best configurations of possibly hope for. The two main carries of the team, Son and Divkit, are on the carry champs. Parky very much on an equalizing laner that is able to facilitate Aphelios. And but one on a very strong laner that will just not fall behind in top lane and also provide something for the team fight. So I like the idea EVOS has for this draft. I think the coaches have definitely figured out something here about their team. But on the other side, it's just a very strong 5v5 team fight composition. A lot of engage, a lot of sustain, and the Taric ult on top of that. So very, very difficult to fight against Dashing Buffalo. The problem, though, is EVOS might just be able to outrun and disengage all the time. They have so many movement speed tools. They have very good disengage and Braum ult. Set can just split all the time. Nidalee, Zillion, Aphelios run away from the enemy team. And how will they deal with Set split push? So that's an interesting approach. These team compositions are very fun to watch. I think we are in for a very exciting game here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I can't wait to see how this one does play it out, as we will be heading on the Rift momentarily.
So, yeah, both comps I like. Honestly, I'm happy with how both teams approach draft here. DBL just went back to, okay, we are in a very bad situation. We need to win almost every single game. So let's just go 5v5. Let's just go head first into the enemy team. We don't care what happens. We have the stronger 5v5. We have the Taric ult to reset fights. So let's just do the easiest comp we can do. We can think of.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Front to back, double tank composition with Taric ult. I think it's a good call for them to just go as easy as possible.
Yeah, is it super easy? I mean, yeah, it kind of is. It is. It totally is. So,
especially if Hin can perform. Hin probably has the hardest job in this composition, especially looking at the enemy comp that is very slippery and hard to lock down. Taric needs to be on point with his ults. I think he has to hold off on ulting for a long time in this comp. He has to wait for enemy team to finally re-engage, which might take a lot of time. So it's on him to carry.
Yeah, I completely agree. He has the most effective ult. As we do go to another pause, and let me just a little bit unfortunate here, but we do have all of the comps now, so you can just run away. Tell us about the scaling. Tell us about the item breakpoints. Just run wild your way. Get that brain going.
So scaling in this setup is a very interesting discussion because looking at DBL's comp, they definitely outscale in terms of 5v5. But is that can we just say they outscale? Well, Zillion Aphelios. The Zillion Aphelios is a very potent combo that can definitely do a lot. All the other champs on their team maybe don't scale too well. Set is a decent scaler. Nidalee doesn't really scale too well. If Nidalee with hyper carry scales a little bit better because she gets attack speed buffs, right, for a diff kit.
We're back.
This game is very much defined by how far can Zorn get ahead and how strong get the EVOS is, or how much damage can EVOS do. Because if EVOS gets to a point where they can burst down the front line for DBL, then DBL can't teamfight front to back. If they can't get to that point, they have to come up with different ways to win the game, through but one split pushing, through Zorn running around and looking for picks. That's possible as well. The ease of execution definitely on the side of DBL. And in terms of item breakpoints, I think it's actually not that easy to call because Aphelios on one item is not that great anymore. So they need a few more items on Aphelios. I think ADC item comparison will be something we have to focus on a lot in this game. Yeah, because of course, very different build paths. Aphelios with more expensive items, and he needs more items to really spike, while the rest of the team would like to spike a little bit earlier. So a little bit disjointed there. Very interesting to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. It's up in the top lane. It is a bit of a trade. That Haymaker, even not hitting the sweet spot, always makes it so Set doesn't lose too many trades in the long run, but of course it's Maokai. He'll be fine. That top lane, I don't expect much to happen.
Yeah, Maokai is one of the only tanks to actually be able to stand up to Set. If you play on into Maokai, into Set, you just struggle the whole laning phase. As Meliodas tries his first gank, but there's a ward, so he has to run away.
We'll just sweep that one out. As we all know, clearing wards can win you engages. I don't know if you saw that clip of, I think it was LPL, where a jungler cleared a ward at level 1, which meant that he ganked at level 2, but hit level 3 a minion early.
Oh.
And it got them the kill.
Well, look at Zorn here.
Yeah. Speaking of getting kills, I think Zorn might be starting us off. Nor does have the happy feet. He's doing a lot of dodging, but God, that Zillion slow is crippling. Glacial Augment Zillion. Get out!
Yeah, of course. So, Zillion actually missed the second bomb, so didn't get the stun, but his slow is almost as good as a stun, so that worked out for them. Zorn, unfortunately, didn't get the first kill. He's looking for something in the top lane, but not to be.
He got scouted by a cat.
Yeah. So, in the end, just a very nice first kill for Parky. I think they wanted to give the quick kill over to Zorn, but the miasma grounding prevented that from happening, and also the bomb from Parky just stole it away. It's still nice to also get a kill over to Parky, so you can just mindlessly wave clear all day with as much mana as you can afford.
So let's have a look at this replay. Zorn comes in.
I mean, the first auto attack pretty much locks the kill in already. Yep. Parky gets the slow, Zorn gets the slow. I think Null shouldn't have flashed here. I think Null is dead. He was 100% of the time. He's level 4. He gets slowed. He has bombs coming his way. So, no, I think that's a little bit of a mistake for Null. The only way out was to proc his rune, of course, that denies slows. Phase rush will deny slows, but he wasn't able to.
I feel like his thought pattern was he dodged the initial double bomb stun and was like, ooh, I've dodged this. I have a chance now. So he went for the flash. Yeah. Realistically, the stun would have made it easier, but it was done. So regardless, as Parquet just has a bit of a wander in, we'll spot Meliodas. So that gets a bit of information for the boys of EVOS.
Very surprised by Parker's item choice. He didn't go for a tier. Even though he can go tier into Cassiopeia, which... I mean, tier is something you definitely want to build on Zillion as well.
Tier into tier? Are we... Are we going double tier items on Zillion these days? What?
No. Tier into tier in terms of lane match.
Oh,
because
okay.
the enemy is
I was
tier
like,
as well, right? So
Muramana Zillion? What?
also double tier doesn't work anymore.
I didn't think so.
Right? Ezreal abused that too much, so Riot had to tune it down. Very fun interaction, but sadly Ezreal was too strong, so
Blue Ezreal
doesn't work anymore.
I like Blue Ezreal.
Yeah, I liked him as well. Swan is level 6 now. There's a ward in that's a very cheeky ward in the Dragon Pit. Swan doesn't know he was spotted, so he might go for the Dragon anyway, and looks like Park has priority as well. So even though there's a ward, yeah,
I wouldn't
look at
contest
the
this.
Lavelius is too far away, so I guess they have full vision, but they have to let the Dragon die. Very unfortunate for DBL.
Yeah, it is fortunate. It means that they know they have a period of safety, but it kind of came during their reset. Sorn misses a stationary dragon with a spear. Doesn't bode well for the rest of this game, but you know, he got first blood in a gank, and then he missed a spear on dragon, so it evens out, I guess.
Also, he's on 56 CS. I think he's still playing a great early game.
Yeah, alright, fine. I won't dock him too many points. He's potentially setting up for another go at the mid lane, but nothing's going to land, and he's going to head back to base.
And he's level 7 now. He's 2 levels ahead already at 7 minutes.
Look at the amount of... That is the second time his solo laners have let him come in and steal CS. This is a Thorn carry comp.
Absolutely. And Parker doesn't need that much money. Of course, Zillion from Hat can be very scary in the mid game, but honestly, late game, if the Zillion has 3 kills or 0 kills, doesn't make that big of a difference. So I think that's a very good choice. Giving over, I think they wanted to give over the kill. Instead, they just gave over the cannon creep, which is almost a creep as well, kill as well. So makes a lot of sense to me. He's very far ahead right now. Million's just at 6. Son is already working on level 8. So
yeah,
it's looking great for the jungler for EVOS.
Absolutely. Overall, it's looking good for EVOS. They have priority in the bot lane at the moment. That is kind of coming off a reset, but at the very least, it's very even down there. And at the moment, DivKid must have had the much better back timing. I'm not sure what happened to Big Koro, because that's an ugly back timing, just boots and a longsword going into a BF sword.
You have to keep in mind that it's Kalista, right? So boots is triple effective on compared to a normal item. So I think it's a fine back timing. It surprises me a lot that Kalista is even in CS against Aphelios. Aphelios should be far behind. Aphelios' early game is so much weaker now on this patch, and Kalista is still the strongest early game laner. So yeah, this shouldn't be this close. So big kudos to DivKid and B. They are keeping up in farm, and they're scaling well into the later stages.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to fix a minor tech issue, but it's no big deal. Do it between games. So, with Sorn this far ahead, where did DBL focus to try and equalize? Where did they get their carry ahead?
Yeah, look at that. That's how. They are starting with Shelly in the top side. So, actually, okay, Maokai is porting back. This is very nicely coordinated. DBL gave over one of the waves still to Maokai, so he didn't have to give up everything. And now he reset on the wave, which means he doesn't really lose a lot of minions. Yeah, indeed. The trade isn't that great, because this DivKid just got 2 solo plates in the bot lane, and might even get a 3rd one, and they are setting up a dive on Maokai. Maybe a little too ambitious. We'll have to see if that works out. But
yeah, I mean, this is
shared gold on the top side, and solo gold for the ADC on the bot side. So,
yeah, I gotta say, I am quite proud of DBL here. Even though it's not going to be a good trade, they didn't just immediately drop the Rift Herald, in which case they would have hard lost the trade. They did do a lot of just raw damage to it, so it's probably going to be turret for turret. And it is a bit of a race about who gets first. Still. No, I don't think so.
Oh,
not with Mr. Spaghetti Arms down in the bot lane. There's first tower.
Horrible.
Now, this is really bad.
Horrible
as they're being pushed back, there's the suplex coming in from butt 1 onto Meliodas. He has to burn the flash, and they didn't get the turret. DBL. Not honestly, good, guys. Not good.
Yeah. I think we have to call out EVOS though. There's such great awareness to,
Yeah.
to just stay in the lane, not
Yep,
contest anything, just push out waves, come to the rescue of the turret when it is necessary, not before. Some teams came way too early and tried to defend way too early. They just came in to deny the one time where the enemy team was trying to race. So yeah, just having the Aphelios down there gave him a lot of gold. It's still kind of even in terms of ADC gold, which surprised me a lot. But I guess he didn't get the solo gold on the turret because the Nidalee had to help him out, so lost a little bit of gold there.
Yep, as we are unfortunately in another pause. Evidently something going on. It's online play, right? If you're annoyed at all these pauses, then continue to practice social distancing and wash your damn hands so we get out of this bloody pandemic faster.
Yeah,
that's how we fix this.
Hopefully.
Then we can actually go back to having events. Gotta say, very quick segue, and then I know you want to talk about the game. Very lucky to be esports fans at the moment. At least we have something.
We have something to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
All the big soccer or football fans here are in very, very bad position.
One thing I thought was cool is the NASCAR League in America. There was meant to be a race on, but obviously they couldn't do it, so they did it in like a racing game. I think it was in Forza. They got all of the drivers to play Forza instead, and they did a big stream. I thought it was really cool.
That's fun.
But let's
also
not go down there.
FIFA was played to decide the derby between BVD and Schalke. So
I think
very fun.
I think sports leagues are adapting well, but nothing can adapt as well as esports because, in essence, we can just go online. But before I take us too far off the rails into Fantasyland, tell us about the early game, Yulwei. What's gone wrong? What's gone right? Because I actually think it's more EVOS playing well than DBL playing badly. So go break it down.
So I want to focus in on the trade we just saw, right? So this is a very standard, a very sad play. We have seen so much of this season because of Rifthold getting moved to 8 minutes. And we get back to game where we can still talk about that. So a lot of teams like to go for early Rifthold trades. And early on in the season, we saw a lot of teams just respond, and we have a 5v5 clash. And some games even get decided there.
Yep.
And now the meta has evolved, and other teams move away from that, as we saw here from EVOS. EVOS just said, okay, take the Rifthold. That will take you a lot of time. So we have time to give our ADC solo gold, solo plates in the bot lane. Usually, when you make the decision to make this trade, you kind of give up immediate gold advantages, because like the normal way this trade works is Rifthold team will get the first turret and will get the gold advantage, but it's traded for more funneled gold on one position in the ADC. So EVOS kind of got the best of both worlds, where they got the funnel gold on Divkit and also got the first turret because the enemy team was disrupted in their push. So it's actually a way better outcome than they even accounted for. And now they're in a very good position heading into the mid game, almost 2k gold ahead. Yeah,
it's very, very good. So the one thing that's focused on here is that we did talk about how Aphelios' build path has gotten more expensive. You can see he's going the Infinity Edge first. Kalista, obviously the Blade of the Ruined King, which is not too far from finished. At that one item power spike for Kalista, which should come in a little bit before the Aphelios one item, what can they find with that momentary gap in ADC power? Is there anything with that dragon being taken? Is that just... it's not going to matter?
Yeah, the big problem here is that the enemy team has so much control to... they have so much ways to shape a fight and to deny the engage, especially Parquet, of course. He can zone with double bombs. He can use his glacial augment, now also the GLP, so even better glacial augment, to zone off the enemy team. So I think DBL is definitely looking for flanks, because head-on 5v5 clashes is something EVOS will avoid and will be very efficient at avoiding through glacial augment and stuff like that. So I think DBL needs to look for a Maokai flank, needs to get some deep vision in. There's one deep-ish ward at blue buff, but I don't think it's close enough to the mid lane. So right now it's very hard for them to find a fight, and that's of course what EVOS wants. They need more time on Divkit, as he said. He needs a little bit more items to be able to stand up to big current team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. But we then have to talk about the fact that is it Div Kid that's relevant for now? Obviously, later on in the game, 2-3 items, Aphelios is obviously relevant. But if a fight breaks out in the next 5 minutes, are we watching Div Kid or are we watching Sorn?
Yeah. Sorn will not be able to carry a whole team fight, but he can, of course, try to skirmish. He can try to make the fight very scrappy, very disjointed, and very torn apart. So that's the main objective for Nidalee here, to not have a 5v5 happen, because in 5v5 Nidalee is quite useless. So she wants to have a fight on the side with a 1v1, where she's way stronger than the enemy jungler. He's still 2 levels ahead, by the way. And once she can accomplish this goal, she can definitely carry the fight. I mean, 30 CS late goes a long way, right?
Yeah, gotcha. He's power farming. It's very impressive out of Sorn. Back on the former quote-unquote main champ for him. Well, definitely the main style of champ is the farming jungler.
He had a split with most played champs, Nidalee and Graves. Yeah, that happened. Not the split. He has definitely gotten more of the team jungler, but he still can channel his inner 1v9 and his inner solo queue self. And this is definitely a game where it looks like his team even wants him to do that and facilitate him. So I think he's now 3 levels, by the way.
Yeah, I think right now the skirmishes actually could go pretty well for DBL. They've got the the transform on the Archangels, the Blade of the Ruined King,
right,
and the Sunfire Kate.
And the pause.
Oh, it's not a good night, is it? We're having a roughie.
Oh, man.
But you get to look at our cool background more. Go Peng!
Oh, man. So far the pauses have all been resolved within minutes, so let's hope that trend continues. We don't want to hit the 50-minute pauses, the infamous VCS special.
I can't do that. I can't do that again, man. I've had 3 hours sleep. I've been playing Animal Crossing for the last 12 hours.
It's kind of on you, to be honest.
It's completely my fault, but I can't do an hour-long pause.
So speaking of Animal Crossing, how have you been spending your days in quarantine? So
I made what I thought was a good decision, but perhaps has turned out to be a mistake. We got the first government stipend payout for the Australian government, and I said, been meaning to buy a Switch for like 2 years, and I've finally got this spare money. Let's go buy a Switch, buy Mario with it. Been wanting to play it for ages. I love Mario games. I now go to sleep at like 1 p.m. because I'm just playing Switch. And the problem is that I'm the kind of person where I have to have my computer not in my bedroom or I'll be a dickhead. So I have it in a different room so I can turn it off and leave.
Oh, you have 2 different rooms.
Yeah, I live in a 2-bedroom flat. Ooh. Nice. And I'm by myself, so it's an office. And then I bought a Switch. And Switches are portable, which means I go to bed and I bring Pokemon with me. And you enabled me in Pokemon. You traded me 9 EVs, knowing I love them.
What has been your favorite game so far on Switch?
It's a tie. I mean, it's a 3-way tie, which is a cop-out because I played 4 games. Between Pokemon Odyssey and Animal Crossing, but they're very different games, right?
Yeah.
Animal Crossing, you just vibe. You just vibe.
I still don't understand that game. I think
neither do I, and I'm 12 hours in
until I can play it. It's so expensive, though.
Yeah, it is. It's like it's a lot. It's a big ask to be. Oh, you can pay full price for a game, and you don't know if you're gonna like it.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Bit rough.
Well, pause. Please go away.
Yeah.
You want to go back?
What have you been doing with your quarantine?
So,
I've been ruining my life, but have you been doing well?
Last few days, I've been addicted to shiny hunting, and
you told me
successful. So now I can go back to normal schedules again. I've now completed my 2 most important shinies. I've got my Litwick and I got my Honedge, so now I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know we're a little bit off the rails here, but it's because we've had that many pauses. We're running out of things to talk about. Yeah, I just want to point out, I told Yulwei, hey man, I got Pokemon, because I knew he played it. I was like, oh, cool. And then he was talking to me, he's like, oh, what's your main Pokemon? And I'm like, oh, it's the fox one. I love foxes. They're my favorite animal. And like a day later, he's like, do you want me to trade you like 9 EVs? Then you can have a whole fox team? And I'm like, God damn it, I'm in. Now my team is 6 foxes.
Yep. Breeding is very easy in the new Pokemon game, so it doesn't take too long to get 9 EVs.
Great. Name them for me as well. I had to send him a list of names.
You can see I don't have a lot to do.
I had possibly my lowest point where earlier today I realized that I had sat perfectly still in my chair for about 45 minutes with one song on repeat because my brain just turned off. I just kind of came back to reality and was like, what?
Yeah, you meditated. So it's great.
Yeah, sure. And also, just to clarify to everyone, the reason we are talking complete bollocks is because there's tech issues. Unfortunately, we're about
we're like 12 minutes in the game.
Yeah, about that.
50 minutes, yeah. There's a big advantage for EVOS in terms of jungle lead. They are 2k gold ahead, 2 dragons to their name. Mm-hmm. We are on Ocean Rift, so it's actually something we have to talk about when we are back in game. The possibility of an Ocean Drake snowball now starting for EVOS. They're looking like the favorites to win game 1 and very solid game so far. I think both teams have not really, they've not really committed to make any mistakes. Maybe DBL should have been able to read that the trade is not actually in their favor against Aphelios on the bot lane. But other than that, actually a very solid game. Not too many kills have happened so far.
It's been a bit quiet so far, yeah. As not giving us a huge amount to talk about other than there was a really advantageous tower trade for EVOS and it's put them really far ahead because Sorn is very good.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he's also surfing in the jungle.
So this is, I'm going to ask you a question that could end our friendship and also turn most of our viewers against us.
Oh God!
When you were a kid, what starter did you always pick in terms of type? Because we all always picked one type.
It's a good question. I think I gravitated towards water.
I always picked fire. Always.
I like some of the fire starters, but I think most of the time I picked water. Definitely in Gen 3. Gen 2, my first ever starter was water as well. Though I think in Gen 2, grass is definitely a good starter as well.
And then the follow-up question.
Yeah, I think water.
What is the starter? Not that you like the most looking back, but what starter do you associate with yourself playing Pokemon as a kid the most? Because I know my answer, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's called in English. It's the water starter from Gen 2. Because Gen 2 was the one...
No, that's... Yeah, Totodile.
Yeah.
Mine was Trico.
That's definitely the... what's Trico again?
It's the Hoenn grass type, I think.
Oh, nice. I love
it's not my favorite. It's not even my favorite from that generation. My favorite from that generation is Torchic. But I remember Trico the most.
Yeah, Trico is super cute as well. I love Trico.
Skeptile is sketchy looking though.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I started, I played Blue and Red a little bit, but it was more my older cousins playing it, and I looked at it a few times. I didn't really play it too much. My first own Pokemon game was Silver, I think, so it's definitely Yoto starters for me, and yeah, for sure.
My first one was Leaf Green.
Yeah, you're younger than me.
I am. Why did everyone on the Discord assume I was like 28? I was like, someone asked how old I was, and I was like, yeah, I'm 22. And everyone's like, what? I thought you were like 30. Should I be offended? What's going on? Yeah, not anymore. Well, we've gone to another pause. This isn't This isn't great.
I think maybe we go to a real pause for us as well, and then
Yeah.
2 seconds later the stream will continue.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So
let's
if
do
we
that.
go to a pause, the voodoo magics will mean that we go back to the game.
Yeah.
Sorry about this, everyone. There is some sort of tech issue on the Vietnamese side. We'll keep you posted. We don't know what's going on. We know as much as you do.
At times.
Unfortunately. But we'll definitely keep you posted. See you in just a little bit.
Surprise.
Sorry, everyone. We'll be in-game in a moment. Sorry, I've got to pull about 10 bloody things over as they just went straight back into game, went completely raw. Bloody hell.
Yeah, that was sudden, out of absolutely nowhere. Just bam, game.
Shit, I sat down and I was chilling.
So apparently the pause was caused by the ref not being there, which surprises me a lot, and it confuses me a lot as well.
Why did they start?
They paused, and they paused twice in game already for like 3-4 seconds. Like,
I don't think it's worth speculating what the hell's going on. Yeah, we did get according to sources that are in the know. Apparently, there's no ref behind one of the teams because obviously it's online. Yeah. But who knows? Whatever. We're back now. There's
a Bramble vest for But One against Maokai. What?
It stops his healing.
That is troll. That is so troll.
It stops his healing. Yulwei. It stops his healing.
40% of his healing. And it's also armor. Where you could go MR into Maokai and be way more effective.
But yeah,
also only stops his healing if he hits you, so you can just choose to not hit you and then
but Yulwei, it cuts his healing?
It
cuts his healing.
It's such a troll boy. It's
not good. It's not good.
So here we go. First Ocean Drake, and it seems like DBL has better positioning, but Son has not given up on this one, and he's 3 levels ahead.
So. There's the reset. There's a lot of Callista Spears. We could get a very big Render Smite combo out of DBL. So EVOS kind of can't go for the 50-50. They kind of have to go. The suplex is used by But One to pull Pun away, but the cats have been called. EVOS now do have prime position, but it is taken there by DBL. Yes, that's who Nor plays for. And there is a big snake ult as well. Pun goes flying in. Can they find any kills here? No.
Here we go again.
What just happened? They want to give the Penta. Come on. He's got like 10 seconds. Come on, Null. Come on, Null. They're trying to get the move speed.
Seriously. They could have gotten the kill. They went to greedy for the Panther. Yay. Aphelios thinks.
It's 19 minutes in.
Yeah. Crit luck. Yeah, he has 50% crit. So you just crit on his ult and everyone died. Yeah, Aphelios thinks. I talked about him not being as ability reliant anymore. Scrap that. His ult can still kill everyone.
It's not meant to do that anymore.
By the way, look at how much Pun struggles against But One here with the heal reduction. Spoiler, he's not struggling.
He didn't hit him. But let's watch this one. This is already going pretty badly. This is going badly for EVOS.
Yeah, Parker
it's
basically
lucky.
sacrificed his ultimate for Taric ult, and then here this...
Krakatoa!
Honestly, this was better played, though, from the Aphelios player. We have seen some Aphelios that just press buttons and then everyone dies. He had perfect timing on Q. He used Q and ultimate at the same time, so he had the double crit. Double crit AE ability. So it's actually great. Actually well played for Diffkit.
Don't excuse that.
Yeah, it still is something that should never be in the game, but it was nicely used by Diffkit. We have to live with a game where this is in, so we kind of have to make judgments on how well this weird, broken-ass champ plays. By the way, hard nerfed on this patch, so...
yeah, he's meant to be dead this patch.
Well, that didn't work.
Yulwei, do you want to take a night off? I don't know if I can handle this, man. Like, emotionally.
I want to see the Pentapod. We have only seen quadra kills. That's not good enough, honestly, for 200 years of game development experience.
It's true.
We need pentacles. Where are our Felia's pentacles?
All right.
He's now on 2 items.
Let's move on from the roast house. Looking at the game state now, that was a team fight that was going DBL's way. And then it broke back. They got the dragon, which at least means EVOS isn't threatening an imminent soul, which is good, considering it's ocean. What?
Yeah, I liked what Parker did in the team fight. He played frontline Zillion and used the ult on himself to basically equalize the advantage from Terrigold. So Cosmic Radiance came in and enabled a DBL to move forward and to go very aggressive into the team fight, which they did. But then Parker just stood there and everyone focused on Parker. Parker used his ult and then flashed away. So basically the whole Cosmic Radiance time was denied with Parker's ult. If he can do this consistently, then suddenly EVOS looks at a very easy time to teamfight this one. So very interesting approach by Parker, and his flash is almost available again. So yeah, might be the same approach in the next teamfight. And 4K gold now for EVOS.
And this is very scary, obviously not just because it's a 4K gold lead at 22 minutes, but now that DivKid is so accelerated because he got 4 kills just like that, now he has a Nidalee that's ahead as well that can heal him and keep him alive, and a Zillion, and a Set, and a Braum to peel. How do you ever kill DivKid? Even if he doesn't annihilate your team in 0.1 of a second, how do you kill him?
Yeah, he has cleanse available. Flash will be up for the next team fight, most likely. So, yeah, I don't see how they killed DivKid right now. Pun is pretty strong, so maybe if Pun can get into the backline, lock him down for long enough. You need 2 stuns at least to lock him down, of course, against cleanse. So I like the cleanse choice. We haven't actually touched on the cleanse. I think it's smart. A lot of stuns, flash, hidden, engaged can be there as well. You can cleanse that one. So DivKid once again showing us why he's considered to be one of the best ADCs in the league, especially on hyper carries. I like DivKid a lot.
Yeah, I think DivKid has very much proven that if you put him on the big carries and enable him, he can definitely get it going. As Null is going very aggressive there. What was your shock to what?
Yeah, the Taric stun hit, even though it was not animated. That was weird.
Bit of a visual bug.
Whatever. Didn't really do anything. So now we have another fight here, and there's a Terrigold.
Yep, here comes the Cosmic Radiance. They've got 4 members in it. There's a big shield and a big heal. The suplex over the wall. But one played that one. Mwah, perfect. And EVOS doing a lot of damage. They've now got a massive health bar lead. There's no way to get in. They can't go through that turret. This is going to be the 3rd Drake for EVOS, and now they're on Ocean Soul Point.
Bombs and
turrets. It's a game. I think the game's over, man.
Yeah, it's wow. This has turned so. EVOS is playing this game so well. I'm so impressed with their execution of team fights. Did you see all the zoning tools there? The bombs, the turrets, everything was there. Red blue is not the best combination ever, but red should still be able to get a lot of damage out. Red blue actually does a lot of damage. So there we go. It's down to 1.6.
Yeah, there's Meliodas walking into the double bomb stun. Baron is secured. Hin tries to come from the flank, and Maokai will throw himself forward. Pun is desperate. B puts up the shield and manages to hop over to his team. Pun will go down. Snorn is charging forward, but don't think he'll find anything. Someone needs to make a meme where it's like got the brick wall, and on the brick wall it says an even early game, and then just have the Kool-Aid man kicking it down and just have DivKid getting a random quadra kill. Because that play ended this game in an instant.
Right now it's a little bit dangerous for EVOS to keep pushing, because they haven't reset for a long time. They won the team fight, won another team fight, and got Baron, and haven't reset all the time. So they desperately need to go back to their base after this inhibitor faults. They overstayed too much here. They could die. It could give DBL a chance back into the game.
They didn't. They just took the structure and backed off. They've got Baron recall.
I'm so impressed with EVOS. EVOS is looking like a top team right now. They are playing this game textbook, very tempered aggression, but still know when they can strike. Very strong early game jungle performance. Nice team fighting from DivKid. I have nothing to criticize them, honestly.
Nope. No. This is one of those ones where when we go to give an MVP, we're kind of just going to be saying like, well, there was a highlight play, I guess. But they all played really, really well. This is such a team effort. I mean, the game's not over. We don't need to have our MVP discussion yet.
I mean, we can start it already. Right now, there's a little bit of a lull. It's between DivKid and Zorn for me. Zorn also is still impressive on the CS lead, on the level lead. Not sure if I'm willing to give it to DivKid just for one very good usage of ultimate.
That's true. I was more making the point that realistically, if you took the performance of any one of these 5 players and put them into another random match, they could get MVP.
Yeah, maybe not
all
but
5,
but he's solid.
I think but one played that last team fight perfectly. It was literally
but
he's
a little bit of a non-factor right now.
That's true. Yeah, but that's not his fault.
Which is okay. It's not. This team composition does not revolve around the set, and especially not if set falls behind early in CS.
But I just want to shout out how well he played that team fight, because I'm a set man.
Absolutely.
I loved watching that. That was fantastic as the bot lane push
was a pretty defensive set team fight. Very interesting to see. Most of the time you want the set to dive into the backline, but he actually just denied the enemy tank and shoved him over the wall, and then Pan had no chance to get back into the fight. So.
Yes and no. He actually was pretty in there because he used the suplex as an escape. He was actually pretty low health.
Yeah.
He had used a lot of his health bar already, so he was just kind of using it as an out. Which is very good.
Yeah, usually you see the suplex as a means to get into the backline, right? So you start the fight with the ultimate.
Exactly.
This time he fought and then used the suplex to escape. Very interesting approach.
Absolutely.
Very rare of what
as Zorn lands a spear but doesn't go forward, and another inhib will fall.
He's still 3 levels ahead.
DBL can't. This is just ridiculous. DBL can't approach at the moment.
No.
They have decent engage. They're pretty good engage, in fact. But
then don't have the damage to follow up on.
Exactly. They need to be able to get within a screen of the enemy team without dying instantly. And at the moment, they can't do that. Ooh, might be a bit of a catch here onto Zorn. He was... Nice. Ooh, the quick fingers as he does get away. I thought he was being a bit greedy and might give one away, but... Nope, Zorn wants to make this one a flawless game, and everyone, make sure you are reporting Parquet. He has died in this game. He is inting.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
So, DBL kind of needs DivKid to just die.
Yeah, IRL.
For no reason.
IRL. They need him to,
maybe IRL.
They need him to go into cardiac arrest. Then maybe they can win this game.
I mean, if he dies in game, that's good enough for them, but I don't see how he can die here.
I think he can die a few times, and they're still going to be very far ahead. He has 3 items and a QSS, and an execution is done.
It's ridiculous. Also, once again, want to point out how much EVOS is overstocking on heal reduction. 1 heal reduction item is enough, guys. You don't need Morello's, Executioners, and Bramblebust. One of the 3 is okay. I think Executioners is the way to go here, because DivKid hits everyone.
Look at the damage Pun is doing onto a tank. And speaking of Pun, he has engaged. The cats are out. But one uses the suplex to get some distance. The Cosmic Radiance is good. B a little bit caught out. But here come the pincers. The horns of the buffalo come in. Big Coro caught by the Gravitum uses the cleanse. He will get running. 1 for 1 at the moment. They need to find more. And it will be, the Fate's Call, getting the Taric out of there. Now they need to skedaddle as fast as they can. That is a good pillar to slow them down. Look at the base, though. There's a teleport. It's the flank. Come on, boys. I'm playing goalkeeper. I'm going to keep you out of your own fountain. But one's here. He's going in. And it's all gone wrong for DBL. They are falling. The towers will follow them. And EVOS, it took them 30 minutes. But... that was dominant.
That was super dominant and super clean. something we don't really get to say even about Gum most of the times. Most of the times, Gum get to a big early game lead, then screw around a little bit, and then end the game in 30 minutes or something. This was just EVOS playing flawlessly. Perfect team fighting. They knew exactly how to play around all the weird team fighting tools on the other side. They knew how to wait out the cosmic gradients. They knew how to dodge the pillars and not get pincered. So I'm just super impressed.
Stunned.
This was very, very good for EVOS, and I love the composition. I loved how they identified that Zorn and Divkit are the main carries of the team, and they just have to facilitate and buy a little bit of space for them.
Absolutely. But we do have to pick an MVP. In my opinion, it's between Zorn and Divkit. I think those are the only two candidates.
Yeah, I think even though I love Zorn and I think he played incredibly well this game. Maybe he was the best player on the Rift, but I think the MVP has to be Divkit because he won the team fights and he dealt the most important damage. So
we'll lock that one in.
Shout out to Zorn.
Absolutely,
he could have been the carry here, but in the end it was Divkit.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not a huge amount to say about that game because, as we said, it was so clean. It was EVOS dominated from minute 1 to minute 30 when it ended. I think we're just going to go into a break, and DBL either has to step up massively or someone needs to break the legs of EVOS, or we're just getting a fast 2-0. That was one of the most dominant performances I think we've ever had, and I'm including Garm games in that, because that was clean.
And one of the cleanest games we've ever seen in VCS, so at least this split.
Absolutely.
So can EVOS repeat that performance? Can they finally break their 2-1 curse where they always lose a game even after a clean one? So let's see if EVOS can show us their bid, maybe even for second place.
Maybe. It could be possible. But we'll see you in just a little bit, guys. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. After an explosive game 1, quite literally explosive.
Yeah. DBL was very explosive.
I mean, with all those pauses, it's almost like we waited for 200 years while Riot was doing some game design. And then an Aphelios ult won EVOS the game. That said, while everyone will look back, and yes, it was the play that cracked the game open, that was, I think, a flawless game from EVOS. Not a perfect game in the sense of they didn't lose any objectives. Obviously, they did lose a few things. But in the way they played, I genuinely would call that a flawless game.
Yeah, there was no point in the game where we were like, oh, it's more likely that DBL win, or where you would criticize any decision EVOS made. The early tower trade was already very impressive, something not a whole lot of teams do, especially in the VCS. Nice meta adaptation. They knew how fast the Aphelios could push, even after his nerfs to Crescendum especially. So nice call there. Complete domination in the jungle, as we expect. If it's farm jungler against farm jungler, I think we will always favor Zorn over Meliodas. Meliodas is way more famous for his ganking junglers, and they tried to keep Zorn off his Trundle, which he showed a lot of success with. I guess they succeeded doing that, but he just went back to Italy and dominated him anyway. So
absolutely, he did.
That needs to change.
This was we talked a lot about the junglers in the lead up. We thought Zorn is always a big talking point of EVOS, but we were really going to look at Meliodas and see how he brought that aggressive playstyle from last week. He didn't get a chance. Did he want to play aggressive that game? I don't know. He couldn't.
Yeah, he didn't really do anything and just fell behind the farm. So,
DBL
there was one very infamous game last summer split. I'm not sure if you remember that one. He played Karthus for the first time.
Oh, yep, I do remember it. Every now and then, it manifests as my sleep paralysis.
And man, that was atrocious. He's just not a very good pathing jungler. He's a solid ganking jungler. He can be very active in the early game. He can bring his team ahead. He can carry games very easily, but not through pathing and farming. That's really not his strong suit. And please, DBL, you need to recognize that as well. If you challenge Zorn on the pathing and farming junglers, you will never succeed. He has so many more in store for you. It's not just the Trundle in Italy. There's Graves, and there might be Kindred. It was one of his favorites as well. There might be a mage here and there. So please just go back to your own favorite style. Go ganking jungler Meliodas and try to blow open the early game.
Yeah, I think that is. They have to do it, and it's risky, right? Because if you pick that ganking jungler, like you go the Elise or something, Sorn goes onto a farm jungler, and then your early ganks don't work, that feels really bad. Because you can almost just immediately lose game, but you don't have a choice, DBL.
Yeah, at least in this way you have a win condition. If you go farm jungler against farm jungler, your farm jungler is always inferior. You just don't have a win condition. So even if it's risky, I think you have to do it, because the same result will happen if you go farm against farm as well. If EVOS and Sorn in particular is just that much better at playing that style. So please, DK is actually in. So they actually recognize the big problem there. Meliodas will get replaced by DK, and we are back to Pun DK.
I think almost a little bit harsh. I don't necessarily think it was Meliodas' fault last game, but bringing in DK to bring up a different style is definitely valid. DBL, can they ban out what EVOS did last game? I don't think they can.
I don't think so.
There's so many other... Maybe ban the Aphelios? Because you're on red side?
Yeah, but I mean, Divki could just play a different... Exactly. Yeah, maybe Aphelios is the only viable hyper carry. That's actually a good call.
Maybe...
Yeah, I don't think that many hyper carries are actually viable right now. Kai'Sa can kind of be a hyper carry.
Give me some Jinx.
She needs a long time. Yeah, I want to see Jinx as well. She actually builds the same items now as Aphelios. But yeah, I don't really see Jinx happening. Aphelios ban is there. We might see MF or Kalista first pick here for EVOS.
Yeah, 2 bans already dedicated to the bot lane from DBL. It's interesting because, again, we can look back at the last game and go, well, it was an AD carry play that won them the game in an instant. But if that play hadn't happened, I think EVOS still wins that game 100% of the time.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Does just banning DivKid out matter, or do you need to ban out other things and pick around? There are 3 AD carry bans.
Yeah, I honestly like what Dashing Buffalo has done here. In my opinion, you can't ban out Sorn. He has too many champs. I think it's impossible. So don't bother. I don't think you have to be scared of Parky or Bat1. And maybe you can try to exploit one of the two, but then you run into the trouble of DivKid freely choosing his champ. So we identified Sorn and DivKid are the main carries for the team. So Sorn is not bannable. So maybe try the approach and ban DivKid and try to force him on a secondary tier 2 ADC. Yeah. Big Core can probably play everything there. He even sometimes goes to mages. So I think this is actually a very intelligent approach for Dashing Buffalo. I have to say, though, I don't think it's going to work because I think EVOS right now is just the better team. So yeah, we have to see. But I like the adaptation, and it's do or die even more than in game 1. So
yeah, it's very much do or die now. If they lose this series, yeah, it's donezo. So they need to win the next 2 games. I like this. Let me rephrase that. I think it's interesting here that EVOS has decided not to pick an AD carry first. With 3 AD carries being banned out, you should know that DBL is going to snap up their preferred ADC. But you know what? MF is still up.
Yeah, it is. Can still get banned in the second phase.
Yeah, I think it has to. Do we see 5 ADC?
I think we are actually looking at Syndra bot lane right now. We have Thresh, the preferred choice for Syndra. I'm actually very interested in this last ban for EVOS. They banned away Tom Kent. So it seems like they were reading Dashing Buffalo like a book here. They knew the Varus would come in and wanted to deny the famous pairing of Varus Tom Kent. Very, very interesting. Seems like Violet has figured out drafting to a whole next degree here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Violet is smurfing these drafts. And I'm surprised if DBL doesn't ban MF. I'll be surprised because they must have a hard read to agree with you that it's Syndra bot lane. I agree with you, but do you cover your bases as DBL? Because if you ban 3 AD carries and then EVOS just goes, okay, I'll pick MF, like seems like you kind of
even if EVOS plans, even if EVOS's plan is to pick up the Syndra bot lane, if they see the MF open, they can just adapt and go MF. So I don't see why they couldn't do that. It's a little surprising to me that Dashing Buffalo does not ban away MF. MF seems to be deprioritized here in Vietnam. Maybe she does. Yeah, it seems like teams are reading into her that she's not that great a champion anymore. which is weird because she didn't get nerfed. So
yeah, I don't think that's right. I'm going to be totally honest. As Rakan is the support pickup here for DBL. They've gone the
interesting.
Rakan Varus against a possible Syndra Thresh. We don't know if that's Syndra bot lane yet. We'll know
We'll see soon. So this is much more composition, right? This is engage. They needed more engage in the last game. They were not able to start team fights on their terms. So makes sense. Oh, we might see another Nidalee for Zorn. There we go. He has found his favorite champ again, and Lucian. Lucian. Will this be mid lane or bot lane Lucian? I would like to see Lucian in the hands of Divkir. I think he has better mechanics than Parquet, and Lucian is a very mechanic dependent champ. So I'd like to see bot lane Lucian, even though I generally don't like bot lane Lucian too much. I think he's way better in solo lanes. But for EVOS especially, I think it's better for Divkir.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. Composition-wise as well, I feel like Syndra has a pretty safe lane against Ryze and can scale into the mid-game. At the moment, looks like Lucian mid. There could still be swaps.
Yeah, so if you take nameplates off, I definitely think this is the best possible configuration of EVOS comp. It's a stronger lane, bot and mid lane. Bot lane is close. I think Lucian Thresh can also dominate lane, but might be a little bit easier to execute Syndra Thresh. So yeah, I guess they want to go with the best possible lane matchups. I'm scared for Parquet Lucian though. He needs to show us that he also is now a carry for EVOS.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we don't often talk about Parquet in that carry role. He is often just not dying and missing Orianna ults.
That's his main job, it seems. Interesting, very interesting. If EVOS can make this work, they actually get way scarier for players, of course. If they can show us that Parker is able to carry as well, that Divkit can take the mage to the bot lane and maybe dominate laning phase as well, then teams have to be super scared of early flex picks, early Syndra hovers and picks for EVOS. But I'm skeptical. I'm not quite a believer yet. I need to see the game first.
Yeah, I can definitely mirror your needing to see a little bit of proof. No blind faith in this house. Question becomes, I mean, I want to see Parquet pop off. Because, again, broken record. I want more good teams in the VCS at the level of Flash, at the level of Gum. And if Parquet can suddenly flex on a mechanical champion, hell not. They're a real threat.
Yeah, if EVOS finds good solo laners, this team is actually championship contender level. They have one of the best junglers in the league. Zorn is in one league with Levi and Yijin, I'd say.
Yep, probably the bottom of that tier, but still maybe.
But yeah, he can carry games. He can keep up. The bot lane is one of the strongest bot lane in the league for sure. For sure, better than Gum's bot lane. I think the only bot lane that can contest EVOS' bot lane is Flashes. So top 2 bot lane for sure for EVOS as well. Yep. If you have top 2 or top 3 jungler and top 2 bot lane, then all you need is good solo laners. And if bot 1 and Parky can step up and suddenly mirror some of the success for the better teams, Flash and Gum, then EVOS gets very scary.
Absolutely. And I mean, one thing we haven't really commented on is it appears that bot 1 is now the starting top laner. 2 series in a row where he has been the priority. I like TH, but his champion pool was showing. And I know we're going to say, well, so is bot 1's, he only plays Renekton. Which is pretty true. But Renekton is a much more flexible pick comp-wise than Hero's Vladimir. You can jam Renekton into a lot of comp.
I think the biggest difference between bot 1 and Hero or TH is that bot 1 can play weak side better than TH. I think TH is overall still a better player. I think his mechanics are way cleaner. But as you said, his champion pool is a little bit questionable. And, the first engage here. It's level
absolutely.
1.
Ooh, the sphere doesn't hit there by DivKid. So they lose that trade very, very badly. Not a great
They got the exhaust, though.
That's actually actually true. They did get the summoner, so
Yeah, they traded summon spell for health advantage on the side of DBL,
which is dangerous.
which if DivKid can heal up, it's actually an advantage for EVOS. So yeah, we'll have to see. Oh, level 2, good. Level 2 is on both sides now hit, so yeah, shouldn't be that big of a problem. We should go back to farming in the bot lane.
Yeah, we
So
definitely
to go back to bot 1 against TH discussion, I definitely think that bot 1 so far has played more of the sit back and farm role. He's more of the weak side player on this team. So far, Evo seems to be more successful if they play bot side focused, which makes a lot of sense with DivKid and B in the team. B is a player we haven't talked about much, but I think he's one of the best laning. And I'm a big fan of B. I already was last season when he was paired up with Police, and those two were actually carried FTV to a lot of serious victories. So I think this makes a lot of sense. And if TH can't play weak side, yeah, then it's but one's time to start.
DK doing? As up in the top lane.
Yeah, speaking of but one.
Solo kill?
Caster cursed him. Unfortunate.
Was that just a flash face
looking
breaker?
for the gank.
He's DK has potentially found the gank. No, because Sorn will link up with his mid laner. Parquet dealing a lot of damage. Really want a replay of what happened up top.
This is horrible. This is so bad for DK. The enemy jungler just stole away his blue buff. Now priority over both Scuttle Crabs over to Sorn as well. Sorn once again has the chance to early 2-level for an early 2-level advantage.
But one starts this. You don't win this. Oh, it was bloody close. Okay.
Oh, it was very close.
I can't blame him too much there. That was double-digit health for sure on both sides.
I have to say, I'm still not in love with Renekton starting fights against sets with W. I think, yeah. But, I think that's a mistake we see a lot with Renektons, because that's the pattern you use against almost all the other champs. I think against Set, you should start with E and try to use Q and wait for his Haymaker, because as long as he does not use Haymaker, you also don't lose the trade most of the time, right? So
the problem with the fantasy of breaking the Set shield with the W is Set is obviously going to point the Haymaker at you, right?
Yeah.
If you just immediately press W, you cop the true damage. If you dodge, the shield's kind of already halfway done.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually true.
So it's actually it's not as good as we sometimes talk about. It's still nice to be able to break the shield, obviously. It's more relevant in team fights where he might not be pointing the Haymaker at you, but in the 1v1s, it's kind of like, well, if I break his shield but cop the true damage, we've kind of come out even.
Yeah, that's actually true. I also like if Set ever starts the fight, Renekton can just use his slice and dice to get away from the Haymaker, right? He can just wait for Haymaker, then slice behind Set, dodge Q damage and the true damage, and then also break the shield. I think that's the perfect way to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that easy. He pretty much can't start fights.
But in the top lane, there has been a fight started as the suplex was used. Not really the direction he wanted to use it, as he did just carry but one back towards his tower, where the slice and dice got him to safety. It's a big CS lead for Pun, but I mean, that's pretty bad. But
yeah, indeed. It's Renekton. Renekton from behind. Not the greatest champ to have. It's quite useless. But let's look at the jungle CS lead. There is a big CS lead. Once again for Nidalee. I touched on how bad DK was hurt by the early gank attempt that didn't go his way. And Sorn hasn't even finished cleaning his own jungle, and it's already a level ahead. So, the jungle lead is once again growing and growing. So can Pan equalize the jungle lead in favor of Sorn? So far, it seems to be able to.
Yeah. So far, the bot lane, despite... Ooh, never mind. I was about to say it's calmed down, but the hook into the Cull of the Week, the flash forward there by DivKid was very aggressive. Can he get the autos? B definitely can. Kill down in the bot lane. Big Koro has fallen.
And 2 flashes as well. Now DivKid isn't even level 6, so whenever B lands a hook now... Yeah. DBL, both DBL bot lane is die, honestly.
They want to set up onto Hin here. This is dangerous. No level 6s for EVOS. That is a good W to try and get away. There's the Chilling Smite. Doesn't really do anything. little bit of a wet
They
fart
missed
of an engage.
everything there.
But
Yeah,
hey,
indeed.
nothing ventured, nothing gained. So they went for it.
Yep.
Didn't matter.
Son also once again very sneakily steals away some of the experience and hits level 6. So Son definitely knows how to accelerate himself. And I mean, to be honest, this bot lane didn't lose anything here because they got the extra experience through the kill. So yeah, I like how Son plays jungle. It's quite selfishly, but he also knows when to take one for the team. Oh no, DK.
He's in some trouble
DK.
here. The boys are coming. The spear misses.
Good dodge, though.
Slash dodged. As there's the flash follow.
Dead.
There's no blast cone. He should be going down momentarily. There's the spear. And Sorn will claim himself a big sand shark to take home.
Man, I can understand what DK is trying to do here. He's very frustrated with how the jungle matchup. Yeah, he's desperate. He's frustrated. He wanted to get some of the enemy team's camps because so far Son has stolen away a lot from his camps and got all the scuttle crabs, but hasn't conceded anything. So this DK thought he had the opportunity to go for it. Parke and Bot1 came for the rescue. Bot1 actually sacrificed a little bit of a wave top lane, I think. So. Very jungle-focused approach from EVOS and paid off.
It's only a 1k lead at 8 minutes, so only quote-unquote. But I think this is possibly the most disastrous way this early game could have gone for DBL. You talked about how DBL can't play a farming jungler against. Have to play a ganking jungler, and they did. But Sorn is having more impact anyway. So the Rek'Sai hasn't done anything. That's already bad. The bot, you dedicated 3 first-round bans to bot lane. And they just picked Syndra on you. Yeah. And it got an early kill. This is a disaster.
Yeah, if they end up losing this game, they always have to go back to the level 3 meeting of the junglers in Botside River. Very close to a very good gang for DK, but he gets spotted by Son, gets forced away from his own camps after Son has already stolen away one of his buff, his blue buff, in fact. And then he loses control of a Scuttle Crab, he loses control over his own jungle. Son still has his full jungle to clear. Mid lane is safe. That messed with DK's plan so much, and he hasn't recovered since. 20 CS down. Almost 2 levels down. We saw the 2-level difference just a few moments ago. He just ticked over to 6. But Nidalee should go to 8 very soon as well. So once again, it's not looking good for the jungle.
No, it's not looking good for the Buffaloes anywhere. The only point of power they do have is Pun up in the top lane. He's winning this matchup very handily. As that's one. Strange decision to recall there. Just wasted some of his own.
That happened.
You had to know that was getting interrupted by one. I'm not 100% sure what the plan was.
And now actually, but one is teleporting back in, so they want to contest this one.
Sorn moving forward should... Oh, no, the eye's not popped, but there it is. Picked up by EVOS. DBL can't contest it. They have no hope.
And once again, bot lane?
Divkid's dead.
Oh, there was a dive. Yeah, that's a dive. An over-aggressive dive for Divkid.
Ooh, bad decision.
Yeah, and he didn't use heal, so he probably got caught by Hin turning around with ult and W, and then he decided to just die because he was dead anyway. So that's very, very likely what happened in the bot lane. But once again, DK is wasting time in the jungle, loses the objective, is now back to 2-level difference compared to Sorn. Sorn gets the eye, gets the Scuttle Crab on top of that, gets his own jungle. It's so horrible to look at this jungle matchup. It's, look at his CS lead.
This is truly a mighty, mighty jungle. We'll come back to it after this. Yeah, it was just, it wasn't even a dive. It was just a Varus ult, well timed. Okay.
A very good exhaust. Oh, nicely done. Actually, very nice defensive play for DBL. Good Varus ult to start the fight. Divkid could have disengaged afterwards. He had the opportunity to run away. Instead, he wanted to go for the kill trade. And then the exhaust from Hin and also the turnaround from Vicar and Hin prevented that from happening. Honestly, even through without the exhaust, wouldn't have been enough damage in my opinion. So a little bit of an ill-advised decision there for Divkid to go for the dive. He could have just backed off again.
Yeah, and we do have 2 Drakes being secured for DBL as we transition to the Infernal Rift. A potential way for DBL to win is there's another brawl up in the top lane. But again, That's not going to last. I think EVOS is done giving dragons up with that too. And this is, as I was going to say, it is a mighty redwood forest of massive trees versus most of what Australia's bush looks like at the moment. Not much there.
Okay, if you say that.
But
damn. Yeah, it's true. So, talking a little bit about item breakpoints and when compositions get online, I think EVOS, excuse me, with Syndra in the bot lane and Nidalee and Lucian, they have 3 very early spiking champs. So, as you said, I think they will not concede any more dragons compared to the enemy champs, Varus, and of course, especially the Arise. I think they are in a big advantage in early skirmishes. They also have accrued a little bit of a gold lead now. So they should now move to a more team dominant style. So far, it's more about jungle dominance and farming in bot lane and mid lane. But now with the early gold lead, they should definitely try to win the next 2 skirmishes, get Parker a few kills, get Son ahead, and then end the game from there.
So I want to make a point here, something I've just noticed, and I actually really like it. But one, recognizing that he is the losing lane, he is the weak side, he's not going Bork.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to play the 1v1. I think that's really smart. Not on autopilot with the build there. Always good to see.
Yeah.
Sometimes players autopilot. That's not good.
Trinity for Pan. Pan is definitely the one shining light for DBL. He's going Trinity. He's now completed the Trinity. Should win every single trade in side lanes, regardless of his opponent. Maybe, just maybe Parker can avoid him long enough to win the trade with the Blade of the Moon King. That's a lot of damage as well. But I think the Pan is... Yeah. Pan is the one player to play around here. And Divkid gets another plate just before. Wow, that was super close. Platings fell in this second.
Can you play around Pan when, despite his lead, Null just manages to run warp away? Even with his lead, I think Sorn plus any member of EVOS beats DK and Pan.
Yep, that's true.
So, how useful is it really? It's such a shame. Like, Set... I love him, but he can't. In this situation, I don't think he can carry. Too heavy. He's got big shoulders.
Yeah,
but not big enough.
It's hard to see him be the main carry of this team composition. He definitely needs his backline carries to provide a little bit of damage as well. He can't do all the damage himself. Oh, Divkid with a stun.
Yeah, this is a bit of an engage up here in the top side. Divkid has thrown out the ult. Big Koro flashing forward, wants this kill, but B will hook him. Instant claim, but here comes the boys. Everyone else has arrived as B goes golden, and Big Koro will not even get that kill as Sorn rips him to pieces with the claws. EVOS, another play coming out ahead for them.
Yeah, that was a little dicey. He was looking for the engage. I actually love how Hidden is playing this bot lane. He is so on point with his exhausts, knows when Divkid wants to go for the burst, and every time he responds with his exhaust of his own. So just a very nice heads-up play for him. In the end, because still goes down, he even tried to flash forward for the kill. Nice stop from B, prevent that from happening. So a kill over to Son. Third trade. Actually, in terms of gold, DBL came out decently well. They are not 2k gold down again. It's 1.4k. It's still quite a big deficit, and they should lose the next few skirmishes, but they bought a little bit more time to scale up.
Yeah, there's definitely... This isn't as clean as game one. EVOS is obviously still very dominant position. They have been dictating the flow of play, but there have been hiccups. There have been moments where DBL could have seized the tempo. If that keeps happening, particularly maybe if it's at the right time, like if we have EVOS making a little bit of a slip up in the next 10-15 seconds, that's a third Drake to DBL. The Infernal Drake definitely gives them a chance. Infernal Soul, if they get to it, definitely gives them a chance. But with the way EVOS is playing, it's so hard to imagine DBL getting back into this.
And speaking of Infernal Drakes and Soul, there we go. Here's the fight for the third Drake of the game.
House did kill my PC for a moment, so oh, shite. That's not what we want. The one time our Skype call decides to make a noise is when I didn't want it to. Yulwei, can you catch us up on what's been happening while I was unfortunately staring at a black screen?
So, Yeah, EVOS got the last dragon and traded 1-for-1, so we're actually still looking at a very close game.
What?
EVOS has the chance to go for Infernal Soul. So, there's the engagement here.
Yeah, this is a big one here. B has to run away. Null very low and in the front line, but he will get that first kill. The dragon still alive.
But one.
EVOS trying to get a chase down here, but Sorn potentially
it's so close.
split off from his team. Went into stasis.
Oh, Son. Whoa. That was aggressive.
That's one word for it. Definitely. As a TP now coming in, this is not over, but the dragon secured. Can but one get away? Oh, with a flash and a dash. He will get over that wall, and EVOS get away without giving up the Infernal Soul. Now, if you'll cover while I finish setting everything up, please.
So I think you have to wait for a few seconds because I reset the stream, so you're a little bit ahead of me. But there we go. EVOS saves the game, does not give up the Infernal Soul right now, and now they're back to a 2k gold lead. So even though their AD player Divkid went down, of course, at the start of the fight, they still win the fight, mostly due to Parkinson and Bud 1 playing very nicely. So let's look at Son and also look at Divkid at the start. He gets caught by the engage, just blown up. Actually does get to cast his ult, so that's very important for the kill on Hin. But one on the flank, he tries to get on big curve. A very good knockup from DNK denies that one. Son, in the meantime, has all the time in the world to go for as much DPS as he can, and this literally has a lot of DPS. So he gets some very nice damage in. In the end, they get the dragon. It was very, very close and very dicey for them. So he was not yet secured in this game. And looking at the composition, scaling is a little bit of a concern.
Yeah, you can definitely say that. Sorry, I was just checking everything's working. Again, I'm really sorry about that. It was just something happened to the power. Everything turned off for a second, then came straight back on. Yeah.
Luckily, we're back when the game is still running, and it's still not decided, so we haven't actually lost that much footage. Just one turret going down, one dragon going down. Now we're back to a very close game, and the season is still on the line for DBL. They need to win this one, remember.
Yeah, this is super important here for DBL, and it's definitely closer than game one. As you said, this game is absolutely not over, but now as we're coming back in, we did miss a couple of minutes. Maybe it wasn't the huge game-breaking play, thank goodness, but let's have a look at the items and assess where we're at and who should be winning fights.
So top lane is but one has caught up a little bit in terms of builds. He's still a little bit of combat effectiveness is still lower on his side, but in terms of completed items, he's even with Pan. One level behind though, so there's the fight in the bot lane. Speaking of the two,
yep, but one will just run away. I don't think Pun will be able to catch up. As Divkid now arrives, Pun getting super over aggressive. Why was he chasing? He's never going to catch.
There we go. Just a very easy kill.
Yeah, had to know that but one was running towards someone, surely.
Yeah, and Pan is a very good laner, but sometimes in his mid game, in the mid games, there's a reason why Hasmid is still the starting top laner most of the time for DBL. Even though he's also quite a good laner, but Pan, he does not look like a pro player from time to time. Does still look like a solo queue prodigy, especially later on in the side lane. And we saw this once again here. He tried to go for the trade, gives over the kill to Divkid, his first of the game after MVP performance from Divkid. He is more of the backseat role this game, but gets his first kill.
It's actually gone pretty disastrously, as the mid lane has been completely opened up here.
And look at bot lane as well.
In the bot lane, that's a lot of
Pin is looking for the
damage being inflicted.
I
think
he got spotted.
It was very, very deep, and perhaps way too deep. I don't think anything, even if he wasn't spotted, it would be hard to get something going off that. Would have been exciting.
Yeah, especially with Divkid's itemization. We talked about items, then the the fight started again. Fighted again, of course. The Banshee's Wail is a very good choice into Rakan, because Rakan can only either charm you or knock you up, so you can flash either of the two. You can't flash both, so it's a very good choice to deny one of the two engage options. I like this itemization a lot. Divkid is actually far ahead of the enemy ADC. He's 1k gold ahead, so he should have a lot of items soon to burst down one of the targets on the enemy team.
Yeah, definitely, and that's obviously what we want to be seeing out of that Syndra. And I mean, Parquet, he is not doing super well in terms of gold. He is just a little bit behind that rise. He needs to... It's going to be hard for him to have the same impact as Null going forward. Obviously, it's a rise. Very easy to nail the impact as rise.
Speaking of Rise, Rise is really trying to get to level 16 here before the next important fight starts. Of course, big power spike for level when level 16 comes in. No teleport available, and DBL actually has positioning advantage and vision advantage over this dragon fight. The dragon spawns in 6 seconds. EVOS needs to get there as soon as possible. They are far away.
He's alive. You might want to quickly reset your stream. Because I'm a little bit ahead, as the Varus ult goes straight into DivKid's Banshee's Veil, and here's the engage. Hin goes flying in, hits a big Rakan ult, but it's not enough. EVOS hasn't been forced to stick to the fight here. The Dragon has not been pulled. Tell a lie, it's just been pulled. So a few engage options from DBL being used. There's a lot of damage onto the Rakan. Hin throws himself back in, tries to get something done before he dies. Punch with a huge shield. But here we go. The massive Syndra stun. The weak were culled. Well, they didn't actually go down, so maybe not a real cull. But they were definitely pushed off the Dragon. And DBL will once again fail to secure the Infernal Soul. And EVOS keep themselves in it.
Wait, what?
Pun in a lot of trouble. What?
Well, what was he doing there?
That play.
Greedy recall potentially, and this might open up Baron. Luckily for DBL, though, DivKid has no mana, but there's a plant to.
Yeah.
Oh, and he might. He even gets the blue buff.
Yeah.
This should just be Baron as well. Oh no!
And look
the
at
season.
One. Oh, no, he's teleporting in.
Yeah. The season might be over soon for DBL. DK has to be the miracle worker here, get the steal in as a replacement.
He's 2 levels. Fan. Raise your arms to the sky and give your energy for DK to charge a Spirit Bomb and steal the Baron. But no, it is Margin Sorn, and he secures it. Doesn't stop. Oh, Sorn, a little bit cheeky. He wanted to go for the kill, but doesn't find anything and pops himself back over.
To be fair to DK, he was 3 levels down, so it was only a really an outside chance for him. But
it was. That's why everyone had to raise their arms, because then we contributed our own spirit energy. Make his smite. That's how that works.
After this strong start, especially for Pan in the top lane, he might have cost his team the season with that catch in the mid lane. Because the Dragon alone didn't actually do that much for EVOS. EVOS has to deny Dragons. Losing Dragons is not that bad for DBL right now. They are still, the enemy team is still not at soul point, so losing Dragons is annoying, but doesn't actually do that much, right? So only having to giving up the Dragon is not that big of a deal. But if you give up your top laner and then the enemy team has position on Baron, suddenly you fall behind 6k gold, and suddenly your season, it does look like it's going to be over in just about 10 minutes.
Yeah, seriously, DBL fans, if you ever thought that your support could give your team strength, you need to be praying real damn hard right now. Because it's looking like DBL season might be coming to a bit of an ignominious end. I don't think we expected them to be the first ones to be knocked out of playoff contention of the ones that were in the mix. At least not 2 weeks ago, we didn't think so. Maybe
2 weeks ago, definitely not. They had the real big resurgence where they went 3-0 the start of round 2. But now, after this one, if they lose, they also go 0-3 afterwards. So back to 3 serious disadvantage. They will move to 5-8 and will be disqualified from playoffs.
Oh, and there's a hook. And the timing was fantastic to follow the Rakan and try and hit a big play, but nothing came of it. And DBL, what can you do? How do you fend EVOS off?
Well, they have to get a pick on Sorn, I think. But Sorn, look at his items. He has so many items. He can go to stasis. So
there's a Rakan. There is the Varus ult straight on top of him. That's very well timed. He has been caught here. He should be going down. There it is, the shutdown. Can EVOS trade anything back? That's a hell of a lot of damage coming out of that culling. Pun is low. He dies. Now But1 goes forward onto Null. That rise going down is a disaster. Ooh, the stun onto Big Coro, but the cleanse was available.
Well,
luckily
not
for
the greatest
DBL,
play ever from
no
Sorn.
minion wave. Oh, Hin had to be careful there. Parquet goes forward, deals some damage. This will be the tower and the inhib going down. Is the camel's back broken?
Yeah, I think so. So Son, this was his first real big slip up for the last 2 games. He played flawlessly, no death so far in the series. Now finally goes down. Honestly, though, he might have made the call that the enemy team can't do this, or if they do this, they will get punished. And to be fair to him, they got punished by his team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great performance from EVOS. They show us that Son, even if Son dies, they can still close out the game, get the first inhibitor of the game as well. So, next objective in 50 seconds will be 3rd Infernal Drake. DK has the chance to steal, but he's still 3 levels down. So, it's not an easy task.
Correct word.
Yeah.
It's like those Japanese game shows where you've got to score a goal in football, but it's like a massive sumo wrestler as the goalkeeper, and there's like just a tiny bit of space. So you could technically get it in, but
Yeah.
don't really favour his chances.
Hopefully it's actually possible. So, big shutdown on DivKid as well. He has been farming like a storm. He's actually been PvE all game.
He has not been playing League of Legends. He's playing Farming Simulator.
Yeah,
and he's got a good crop going. And
Yes.
there is a
Oh,
on
the
to Pun. Pun getting caught again. The shield is
look at the
huge,
shield, though.
but that's a lot being used. I mean, it's the Sterix. That's the big one that came out.
Yeah,
And there's so much priority over the Dragon here for EVOS. Pun on half health. Set has good health regen. He's having to recall and try and TP back in. Pun getting caught again, leading to a disadvantageous situation. Where's Husmed?
Yeah. That's a question I thought I wouldn't hear from you, Hasmet hater.
Hey,
It's a fair point.
What would you put him in there? No, I'm not a Husmed hater. I'm a Rhizo hater. I have been supportive of Husmed.
Yeah.
As him hiding in that bush, doing his best solid snake, gets a big engage here. This is it, DBL. Can you win this fight? But one has come in, and look at the damage coming out of him and DivKid. Yeah, I had it right the first time. And that's it.
Yep,
DBL,
there we go.
Your season's over.
Last-ditch effort for DBL. They didn't want to go quietly into the night. They wanted to fight for their lives. But sadly, the fight was very one-sided.
They truly did rage against the dying of the light. But EVOS was inevitable.
Yeah, and there we go. EVOS wins the game without Soul. They get back from 3 Dragon disadvantage and just look like a cleaner team in team fights. Way less clean if you look at the whole game compared to game 1. But honestly, didn't look too dire at any point for EVOS. They were always ahead in goal. They always got the catches on Pun. There was one very, very strange or very close situation around 4th Dragon where they could have lost the game, but afterwards, very clean, went to Baron, pushed up the mid lane, and just finished the game. So overall, very impressive performance for EVOS over the course of 2 games. First game was almost flawless. Second game, a little bit more, some mistakes here and there, but still 2-0.
Dominant. Yeah, it was a 2-0. There's only so much we can say there. Goodbye, DBL. We do have a moment of silence as we farewell our first playoff contender who will fall by the wayside and be left. So now, on to a more positive point. We have to pick an MVP for that game.
Yeah.
We did miss a minute or so, and again, I'm very sorry about that. That was something happened to my power.
Well,
so, MVP. DivKid hit some really good stuns. Sorn had another cracker of a game.
Yeah, he had the one. You got caught once, but everything else was almost perfect.
He almost baited them, though. Like, he got caught, but his team won off it.
Parker played well on the Lucian as well. He showed us that he's capable of playing Lucian.
I don't think it was MVP, though.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, he was very good, and he didn't really get the big lane advantages you want to see from Lucian, so I don't think he's eligible to get the MVP. I think it's Sorn, or maybe even but one, even though his laning phase was a big struggle.
I think Sorn.
Yeah, let's go Sorn. I think a big shout out to B once again as well. I think it's very hard to give B MVPs in this team because 2 of his main carries are just playing very well as well. So for
Super
B
true.
to get the MVP, you pretty much have to have Zorn failing. So that didn't happen. But B, once again, with a super solid series, won both of the laning phases. Great counter stopwatch on the top side, where he changed the fight, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
shout out to him as well.
Yeah, so we will lock in Sorn for the second MVP, and we will also have EVOS locked in as the winner of our first series tonight. Thanks everyone for joining us. I think we will be back soon with Series 2. It's probably, I don't know how long it's going to be. There'll be a timer on screen.
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, the stream will turn off for a little bit, but we'll be back in plenty of time, don't you worry. Thanks everyone for being here. Sorry about our little tech issues, and the VCS side tech issues as well. It's been a bit of a roughie. But we get through. And we hope you join us for the next series, everyone. We'll see you in just a little bit.
Gao against FTB. Let's go.
Let's have some fun.